Most people wait for a big moment to change their life, a lucky break, a new year, a second chance. But let me tell you something that changed my life. It's not the years that make you successful. It's what you do with your days. And not just the days, but the hours, the minutes, even the seconds. You see, life doesn't shout at whispers. And only those who listen closely, daily, can master it. Excellence is not a destination you stumble upon. It is a quiet decision you make when no one is watching. It is the discipline to do it right, even when it would be easy to cut corners. The tragedy? Most people never realize that the secret to an extraordinary life is tucked away inside an ordinary day. So the question is not, can you do something great? The question is, can you do something good greatly every day? You don't wake up excellent one day by luck. It doesn't work that way. Excellence isn't a performance you deliver when the spotlight is on. It's the way you carry yourself when no one is watching. It's how you do the small things. And the way you do the small things tells me everything about how you'll handle the big things. I used to think I had to wait for the right time, the big opportunity, the perfect setup. But let me tell you, opportunity doesn't come to the unprepared. Excellence is the preparation. There was a time I would cut corners, thinking I was saving time. I didn't realize I was robbing myself. Robbing myself of pride, progress, and trust. You see, when you get used to doing things halfway, it starts showing up in everything: your work, your relationships, your reputation. But when you build the habit of doing things with care, with intention, with precision, you start to stand out. Not because you're flashy, but because you're dependable. That's rare. And rare is valuable. A wise Roman once said, asterisk, practice does not make perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. Asterisk. The habit, not the moment, builds the man. I remember telling myself, if I can't control the world, I'll control how I respond to it. And that meant bringing excellence to the table, even when the meal was simple, even when the job was small. That's how you build a reputation, by showing up fully every single day. Look at the wealthiest people in the world, not just in dollars, but in impact. What you'll find is a trail of consistent, disciplined action. Not drama, not shortcuts, habits, good habits stacked one on top of the other until they built something solid. So, if you want to change your life, don't look for the next big moment. Build the habit. The habit of doing things with care, doing them with energy, doing them like they matter, because they do. I used to wonder why some people lived extraordinary lives while others, with the same number of hours in the day, just got by. It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't talent. It was discipline. Discipline is the master key. Not the exciting kind, not the one that gets applause, but the quiet kind. The kind that makes you get up when it's easier to stay in bed. The kind that makes you finish what you start, even when no one is watching. It's the foundation on which excellence is built. And without it, dreams remain daydreams. When I was younger, I had plenty of ambition, but very little structure. I had goals, yes, but I didn't have the daily disciplines to match them. I'd write them down and get inspired, but I didn't have a system. Inspiration without discipline is like a car without fuel. It may look shiny, but it won't take you anywhere. And I learned the hard way that neglect has a cost. Every undisciplined decision today becomes a regret tomorrow. But every disciplined act becomes a reward. Wealth, peace of mind, respect, they all have discipline as their down payment. Think of a farmer. He doesn't plant when he feels like it. He plants when the season calls for it. He waters, he waits, he protects the crop. Discipline, not impulse, brings the harvest. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." I found strength when I started managing my mornings instead of reacting to them. When I started saying no to what felt good and yes to what would build good, that's the choice every day, every hour. Discipline is doing what's necessary when it's necessary, whether you feel like it or not. It's not punishment, it's refinement. It sharpens your character and prepares you for opportunity. And when you make it a habit, when you train yourself to show up, to follow through, to do things well, life opens up in ways you never imagined. Because the truth is simple. Your discipline determines your destiny. One of the greatest tragedies in life is spending your finest energy on things that simply don't matter. I've watched people hustle day and night, only to realize they've been climbing the wrong ladder. It's not that they weren't working hard, they just weren't working smart. They were majoring in minor things. And in life, minor things will beg for your attention, but they won't pay you back. I remember a man who would spend hours arguing about office politics, organizing his desk just right, obsessing over what his colleagues thought of him meanwhile. His skills were fading, his goals slipping. Why? Because he was drowning in trivia. Excellence isn't about being busy, it's about being focused. You have to separate the urgent from the important, because if you don't, the world will have you chasing noise while neglecting your music. I learned to ask myself, what matters most today? And then, just as importantly, what doesn't? That second question, what doesn't, is where most people get stuck. They waste golden hours on things that steal their time and drain their mind. The wise Seneca said, asterisk, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Asterisk. And I've seen it happen. A man can spend half his life perfecting distractions, then wonder why his dreams haven't moved an inch. There was a turning point in my life when I began to protect my attention like treasure. I started saying no to unnecessary meetings, to gossip, to meaningless routine. And I redirected that energy toward learning, toward building value, toward meaningful action. The difference was night and day, not just in income, but in clarity, peace, and personal power. So here's the challenge. Audit your day. Look closely. Where is your time going? Where is your mind going? Because excellence cannot grow in clutter. It needs clarity, focus, purpose. And when you stop majoring in minor things, you'll finally make room for the major life you were meant to live. I used to think the way to get ahead was to pour all my energy into the job, clock in early, stay late, take on more than anyone else. And for a while that worked. But eventually, I hit a ceiling. Not because the job changed, but because I hadn't. You see, you don't earn more by working harder on your job. You earn more by becoming more valuable. And that starts with working harder on yourself. I remember the day I realized my paycheck wasn't just tied to my time, it was tied to my skills, my mindset, my attitude. I was frustrated, wondering why I wasn't getting ahead until I asked myself a tough question. When was the last time I grew? Not just professionally, but personally. The truth stung. I was improving the company, but not improving the man. And that's when everything shifted. I picked up a book instead of the television remote. I started listening to audio programs. While I drove, I began to feed my mind daily, 10 pages a day, 30 minutes a night, because I knew if I changed, everything would change for me. My communication improved, my confidence grew, and suddenly, opportunities started showing up. Why? Because people don't pay you for effort, they pay you for value. And value comes from growth. Even the old philosophers understood this. Socrates said, asterisk, let him who would move the world first move himself. Asterisk. And that's it. You want to move your world? Start with you. The more capable you become, the more useful you become. The more useful you become, the more rewarded you are. It's a simple formula, but most people ignore it because it doesn't produce instant results. But give it a year, just 1 year of serious self-development, and your life will look nothing like it did before. So if you're going to outwork anyone, outwork your old self. Study more, reflect more, improve your thinking, improve your habits, because your job can make you a living, but working on yourself now, that can make you a fortune. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The rich don't get more, the poor don't get less. But what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary is what they do with those hours. Most people let time happen to them. They react to the day like it's an accident. But if you want excellence daily, consistent excellence, you've got to take command of your time. Don't be a servant to your schedule. Be the architect of it. There was a season in my life when I felt like I was always behind. Appointments running late, projects unfinished, people calling me unreliable. I thought I had a problem with motivation, but I didn't. Here's what I learned. If you don't plan your day, someone else will, and they won't plan it in your favor. Most people are busy being busy, but busyness without direction is just noise. You've got to wake up each day with intention. I used to write down 6 key things I needed to get done every morning. Just 6, not 60. Then I'd rank them by importance. The result? More focus, less chaos, and far better results. The ancient Stoic Epictetus once said, asterisk, no man is free who is not master of himself. Asterisk, and I'd add, no man is master of himself if he's not master of his time. I know people who work hard but accomplish little, and I know people who seem to glide through the day, yet their results are staggering. The difference isn't talent, it's time, discipline. Time is opportunity. Time is capital. Time is life. And if you waste it, you're bankrupt, no matter how much money you've got in the bank. So don't just watch the clock. Shape your hours. Guard your schedule. Invest your minutes like they matter, because they do. When you master your time, you master your future. Most people are looking for the big move, the giant leap, the breakthrough moment. But what they don't realize is that excellence doesn't live on the mountaintop. It lives in the foothills. It hides in the little things, how you do the small task, how you speak to the receptionist, how you prepare before a meeting. The details tell the truth about you. And the truth is, if you neglect the details, life will neglect you. I remember early in my career, I was preparing for a small presentation, just a few people in the room. I almost brushed it off. It's just a few folks, I thought. But something told me, if you can't give your best to the few, you won't deserve the many. So I prepared like it was a stadium. I ironed my shirt, rewrote my notes, practiced every word. And wouldn't you know it, one of those few folks in the room introduced me later to someone who changed the entire direction of my career. Why? Because I treated the small thing like it mattered. Michelangelo said, asterisk, trifles make perfection, and perfection is no trifle. Asterisk, that's the mindset of a master. You want to be excellent? Then learn to care. Care about punctuation. Care about cleanliness. Care about showing up on time. Excellence isn't an event, it's a pattern. And that pattern is built in the invisible moments where most people are careless. I've seen people lose deals, trust, and even friendships because of carelessness in the little things. An unreturned phone call, a misspelled name, a handshake that felt like a formality. The world notices when you don't, but the opposite is also true. You win hearts, opportunities, and respect when you sweat the small stuff. So here's the question, how are you handling the details of your life? Your home, your health, your emails, your words, do they reflect excellence? Because if you can't be trusted with the little, you'll never be trusted with the big. And that's the secret most overlooked. Greatness is simply consistent attention to what others ignore. Excellence doesn't arrive in a flash of lightning or a wave of applause. It's forged in the quiet, steady rhythm of daily discipline, intentional choices, and unwavering commitment to growth. If you want to change your life, don't wait for permission, don't wait for motivation, just start. Start with the next hour. Start with the next conversation. Start by doing something ordinary with extraordinary care. Because how you live your day is how you live your life. Remember, the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards performance. And performance is nothing but potential, refined by habit. Every day is a fresh canvas. What you paint on it is up to you. Don't let distraction steal your vision. Don't let excuses delay your future. Build yourself. Sharpen your mind. Guard your time. Surround yourself with excellence. And then live it out in the details. Now, I challenge you today, not tomorrow, to choose just one habit, one discipline, and commit to doing it with excellence. Not for a week, not for applause, but because you've decided that average isn't your standard anymore. Because once you master your days, you'll master your life. And that, my friend, is the beginning of something extraordinary.